Check. Check, check. Uno momento. Do. I hope no one's here watching me technically malfunction as always. Okay, it says we're live. Good sign. Good sign. Okay, I think we're live. I think we're live. I'm just gonna chill for a little bit, wait till people show up. We actually just did an announcement through music website just a second ago. Oh, hey Robert. Okay, cool. I'm glad you can hear me. Okay. Yeah, we just did an announcement for music website a second ago. Literally just when I hopped on, we have a party happening next Friday, and we just announced it with a flyer. So if anyone's in New York, next Friday, we are having a DJ event at Transpicos, and it's going to be with Picture Plane, DJ Chaotic Ugly, aka Machine Girl, but I wouldn't go by Machine Girl for this. This is his alter ego. Me, DVI, and a bunch of others. I'm gonna do like a second announce about it later, but it's gonna be super fun. So if you're in the area, you should definitely come out next Friday. I'm just trying to get the pop-out chat going so I can see everyone. Pop-out chat. There we go. It's been a while. Yeah, I think I haven't streamed in like 2 months or something, even though it doesn't feel that long. I feel like time is flying by in the most insane way. But the good news that comes with that is now I have a second song out today, well, as of yesterday, and I hope you've heard it, but we're gonna listen to it in a little bit when people are here, hopefully. You know, it's like the dawn of the summer, so the attention span is different these days. Understandably, people are actually out enjoying themselves, not cooped up. They're actually, going for walks, hanging out at the park, going to shows, not living through a computer screen nearly as much. So, but yeah, what should I say? The song I put out, hey Simon, thank you. The song I put out, was it yesterday? Called Way I Love, and it's like the second song of my dream pop thing that I have going on. I don't know what to call it. My dream pop era thing I have going on, but yeah, definitely a different sound than maybe some of you are used to from me. It's a different sound that I'm used to for myself, to be honest. But yeah, I wrote it. I wrote it a while ago. It was like very much on a demo stage for a while, and honestly, I was not planning on putting this out at all. It was just a song that I had. It was like an idea of a song, really, that I had tucked away in my folders, and yeah, I was like, this isn't my vibe, so I'm just gonna put it away. And then my whole concept for the next record I have planning on coming out, I won't say too much right now, but that started to form, and all of a sudden I was like looking through old sessions and stuff, and this song came up, or this idea came up, and I was like, oh, this actually fits pretty well. So, yeah, and then I just started working on it and throwing down some lyrics, and here we are after all this time. I feel like all the songs I write typically have like a year process, but every so often I get lucky and I like write a track and there's only like a few months in between where I write it, it gets mixed, and then I put it out. But that's a very rare thing. So this one, yeah, probably started around last year. It's kind of weird when that happens. Here I go. I'm just going to ramble. It's kind of weird when that happens because you're in a very specific headspace when you're working on a song. And I don't know about you guys, but after a year goes by, I think I find myself to be an entirely different person with entirely different priorities and values and ideas and tastes, especially. So after a year goes by, if anything, that really tests your material, because if you still like your music after a year, maybe that's something that withstands the test of time a little bit more. And it's something that maybe is just like true to you on a more constant level, not just true to you in a blip of time. So I feel this way about this track, I would say. I feel like it's a very honest song. You can't really go wrong with having honest music. That's one thing that I've definitely learned since putting out my music. It's like you can always regret something where you're trying out a new style for whatever reason, maybe because you think other people will like it, or because you just kind of want to like fit in with the scene or something. If you're doing it for any external reasons, you're bound to fall into this situation down the road where I don't know if you're going to be embarrassed by your music. For me, that sometimes is the case, or it's going to be like, yeah, I was lying. This wasn't me. And I don't like that feeling personally. So I think the best rule of thumb I've learned is to just be honest. Even if it's not trending right now, just stick with the honesty. I think you'll be happier down the road for that. Hey, Daffodil. How's it going? Happy Thursday. I don't know if any of you guys got rain earlier, but I'm down in my basement, so I don't really have too much access to the outside except for this small window. But even with that, I was hearing it pummeling earlier. Yeah, I had some nice ambiance down in the basement. More gloom and doom down here. How's everyone doing? I'm going to leave the floor to you right now. How is everyone? It's a weird time right now. I feel like everyone's feeling it, so sometimes I'm tired of talking about myself. Oh. You see this? This is one of the first merch items made for music website. Good. I'm happy to hear you're doing well. That's always good. Yeah, so what more should I say about this song? Working on music, that's always good. That is always good. That's another thing you can never go wrong with. You can always regret people you spend time with. You can always regret places you go. Maybe I'm going a little contrary to what they say, but for me, I never really regret making art and spending time doing my art. So one more day, rough week. Yeah, we got one more work day for a lot of us. Beautiful sunny day in Seattle. That's always nice to hear too, because I know Seattle is pretty notorious for the clouds and the rain. I've only been there once, and it was sunny when I was there, back on a tour with this band Heavenly Beat long ago. I love Seattle. I wish I could spend more time there. And everyone I meet from Seattle, just extremely genuine people. Good artists too. Like very sincere. Their art seems to be very like from the heart, very genuine. But yeah, Seattle's a cool place. Yeah. But yeah, what are your summer plans? I know I'm rambling right now. I'll talk more about the song a little bit, but I just don't want to like say too much if people aren't here, because I do that sometimes and then I'm like, fuck, I have to repeat myself. Yes. What should I say? What's new? And maybe I could talk about Music Website for now. That might be a good move. Music Website, my label. We have actually a lot of shit happening. A lot of stuff in the works, but a lot of stuff that we've been putting out actually, which is exciting because I think there was a bit of like a lull, just because everyone was working on music at the same time. I feel like everyone's kind of like incubating at the same time and then releasing at the same time. So the last thing I think we had out, aside from my stuff, there was a Swords remix that just came out last week, and a Swords remix of Germs' track Drugs in the Bathroom, which if you haven't heard is hilarious and just a very like, just kind of like a great summary of what New York nightlife is when you go out these days. Really fun song. So anyway, we have a Swords track that just came out, a Swords remix that's really good. And then we have another announcement for a Music Website. I don't know if any of you are familiar with the artist Umbrella. Very, very sick shoegaze pop mixed with like some drum and bass stuff. I mean, everything you could ever want, really, at least in my world. I got really familiar with Umbrella's stuff last year because they put out an album, and there's one track I was like playing on repeat. It was so good. And then Umbrella actually opened for my friends Beach Fossils earlier this year. So we, through that, we just linked up, and now we are releasing a song with Umbrella tomorrow, or really tonight at midnight. So that's super exciting. I'm really excited to be like repping music that, you know, I'm just like passionate about, and music that, yeah, just feels very much a part of my world in many ways. So that's really dope. I'm super excited for that. And they're from the UK actually. So hopefully we can get them out to the States at some point. And they have this really cool track also. So their album's really great, but then they have this really cool track that they put out earlier this year that's like just like a straight drum and bass shoegaze song. And like for so long, I would say for the past 2 years, I've just been waiting for someone to do it in that way where it's just such an obvious, okay, I'm going to take shoegaze, I'm going to take breakbeats and just like make it like just like this very obvious, like perfect sound, perfect blend of the two. And yeah, I feel like Umbrella was like the first one that did it in that way, in such a like perfect way. So yeah, check out Umbrella's stuff. I wish I could add links right now, but that's okay. Maybe I'll have Chris add some links if he's listening. Chris from Music Website. Chris, if you're listening, you can add some links to Umbrella. Maybe links to his song that's coming out tonight also. Yeah, so okay. Light crowd tonight, but as I'm saying, a lot of people are out living life right now, so that's a good thing. I'll talk a little bit more about my song since it's like 15 minutes in. Okay, well, here's the cover right here. You can see it right here. So I went out to California in February, and I was there to shoot for my next album. I was doing some like photo stuff, doing a lot of video stuff out there for that. And I knew that this song was coming out at some point in the near future, but it wasn't really like the priority while I was out there. So we were just driving around, more like Joshua Tree and like just some really scenic areas out there. And at the very last day we were there, I just decided like, let's go to this spot that I just found on a map. I kind of just like put my finger down and was like, let's go here. Because and I also looked at the temperature and it was like the only place that seemed a little bit warmer than everywhere else. So we drove out and it was like sunset hour. And I'm walking around and we're just kind of like taking some photos, not really knowing what to do exactly or where it was going. And then I look on the wall of this, or I look on the side of this rock, and the words "I love" are on the side of this rock with a little heart there. And I was like, oh shit, that's fucking perfect. I can take a photo for my song right here. So that's like not staged at all. That's a very organic situation that happened here. Yeah, I saw "I love" on this rock in the middle of nowhere. And it was very fitting. So I just took like a quick candid photo, and I like the candidness of it. I think I didn't want to think too hard in general about the visual stuff for this. Sometimes I really like spend time just overthinking everything, but I think because this song was written in a very sort of stream of consciousness way, that I wanted it to feel that way with the visuals too. I wanted everything to have this like candid feel between the music, between the visuals, everything. And actually, I do have more video stuff that I might actually post like a more full length video if people are interested in that. I could show you a little bit of it tonight too, but I don't have the audio synced to it right now. But yeah, we shot in Super 8 for that. I was just trying to get like a very organic feel for it. So, yeah. So that's kind of the story behind that photo, which is cool. And we have a little bit of a clip of it on Super 8 also. Thank you, Kametsu. Thank you so much. So yeah, I can talk a bit more about the song, or we can listen to it now. No, I should probably wait. And if please ask me questions. That's like very helpful, because when I ramble, my stream of consciousness it's very cursive. So if you want to give me a prompt to answer, that's helpful. That's very helpful for me. But I will just ramble in cursive for now. So more about this song. Yes, I wrote the idea way back when, probably about a year ago. To me, at that point in time, the song was like so left field. I was like, this is too cute. This is way too, like, yeah, I guess cute's the best word for it. And I was maybe too pop. Maybe that's better for, I don't know. But it didn't feel like it fit into my universe at that time. But then throughout that summer, especially into the fall, I started picking up my guitar a lot more, and it just kept happening where I was writing songs very much in that vein where it felt maybe a little too cute. And I don't know what that means exactly. I think when I say cute, it's like heart in your sleeve. And I think, to be honest, probably a bit more vulnerable, which is why I might feel a little bit like cringy or uncomfortable sometimes when I write a cute song, because it's actually maybe just like there's less barriers up, and you're like removing any facade, and you're just getting to the real soft human underneath it all. And so I actually, at a certain point towards the end of the summer into the fall, kind of had like a whole shift of mindset where I actually wanted to embrace that a lot more. And I really didn't want to have an artistic wall up anymore. And not just an artistic wall up, but just a wall in general. I think being honest with your art extends to every aspect of your life. When you're practicing that in your art, it's a life practice, really. So I decided that I wasn't going to like let that voice get in my head too much. And so if I was going in that direction, it felt like it was getting too cute, I just said, keep going. And so all of a sudden I was writing more songs in that vein. And then, yeah, so then more of like this idea for an album came about, and I started to look back in some files to see if there was any old ideas that would fit. And then sure enough, there was this song, this idea. And so then I ended up getting back to it and like throwing down some vocals. And it's so interesting because I didn't have real lyrics there, but even my like vowel, just like weird vowel sounding idea of lyrics already kind of like, it already sounds like some of the lyrics that came about in the end. Yeah, Chris says it's my country album. Hi Cybergaze. Yes, the show that we announced is crazy sick. I'll get to that in a few. I'll get to that towards the end of this because I want to keep on track mentally with what I'm talking about. So I was talking about song, and yeah, so anyway, it reemerged and I threw down the vocals. I was done pretty quick with this track. Like that was the whole intention behind it, was to just it just really write something from the heart. And that's okay. So then I can get more into like the thematic elements of this song, because something I do, and this is more unconscious, but something I do with a lot of my songs, especially when it is like kind of cute sounding, a little bit more like soft and pop sounding or whatever, what ends up happening is it's like the more I go to that extreme, the more my lyrics actually go to the other extreme. So like it's like the cutest songs I have are the ones that actually have the darkest lyrics a lot of the times. I don't know why that comes about. It's a very subconscious decision, but I've kind of analyzed that, and I think it allows me to be like my utmost honest, because I think if I were to use dark lyrics like that on top of a very dark sound, it would be too much. It would almost be too much to ingest. And I want to make something that's like palatable and relatable, and something that's like, yeah, just a little bit more easy to take in. If I'm throwing too much sadness or anger or any of those darker emotions, you can definitely get to a point where, yeah, you don't want it to be too nail on the head sonically. I personally love when there's like that duality there. So with this song, and you'll see with others in the future, the lyrics are actually very sad. And it sounds like a love song, but it's not really a love song. Not at all, really. It's very much about not knowing, as people are throwing this term around all the time now, but not really knowing your boundaries. And this is not a romantic song, by the way, either. It's not about like a love interest. This is about more just like your day-to-day relationships with friends, with, people you hold close. And I think if you are someone that holds any level of empathy, I think we're all prone to this. You want to give the world to the people you care about, typically, and you want to connect on a deep level with the people you care about, and you want to see them be well and be happy, and you just genuinely want the best for them. And sometimes when you don't know your own limits, that can end up getting abused and taken advantage of. So I am like not just speaking for myself. I think this is just like a human experience thing. Like I think all of us deal with this to some degree. Unless you're a narcissist, but we don't have to get into that. That's a whole nother thing I could talk about. But yeah, so this song is just about kind of like loving so deeply and intensely that and not knowing really where to stop, and then maybe that not being either reciprocated or taken advantage of to a point where you lose yourself in the process. Yeah, I mean, that's kind of the gist of it. It's something I think a lot of us can relate to. Reminds you of Capture Track's Peak Indie. That's like one of the nicest compliments you can give me, because that was a big inspiration for me when I was starting out with guitar. That was like, I had it on my vision board that I wanted to be in a Capture Tracks band. But yeah, so I think I gave you the gist of it. It's and if you read the lyrics, you'll see that it's not really a love song. It's about getting your heart broken, and not even in a romantic way, just from relationships that you hold close to, and maybe you in turn either lose yourself or become disappointed, or and it's like, also I think another aspect of the song and the lyrics is like not taking accountability for yourself for when it comes to boundaries. And so it's like asking the person that she's singing to not let her go to those lengths. Don't let her do it. And that to me is like, it's like a moment of awareness. Like, you're not taking accountability for putting up your own boundaries. And because that, at the end of the day, that is your responsibility. So maybe it's a self-critique in that sense. And it's interesting because I'm talking about this, but it's like so much of this is subconscious. Like I do actually really like analyzing my lyrics after the fact, because I learned so much from them. And it's like, none of what I'm saying was like this intentional thought process as I was writing them. But then I look back and I'm like, fuck, damn, like my subconscious had something to talk about. So, yes, that's the gist of it. Feel free to ask me any questions though. And I'll get back to the label questions in a second. But yeah, Chris said this is my country album. It's kind of true, because I think, I don't know how long the sound is going to last. I think this is just like, it really is this like, it was like this necessity to get out this sound. I think it, like I was saying, I was so inspired by the Capture Tracks thing back in the day and all of that. And like, I think I had a lot of this sonic vision that I'm showcasing now, kind of like stored away for so many years. And so I think it's almost like a purging moment, like all these ideas that I kind of had pushed away early on in my music career, now surfacing for the first time. But I'm already craving getting back to my electronic stuff at some point, but I'm riding this wave for a little bit, and especially if you guys like it, then that makes me feel good. So is there going to be a music video? Yeah, so I mentioned that a little bit earlier, but I did shoot a lot of different stuff I didn't know exactly what song it was going to go for, but I have a lot of this footage that I might compile into more of like a substantial music video. But I'll see about that. I'm just kind of, I don't know, a part of me wants to just like see how people respond to the song, and if they, if they're like more interested in investing into that world, then like, then I'll be more interested in investing into it as well. I think sometimes there's like a bit of call and response there when it comes to all that stuff. So, but I do have a lot of stuff. So either way, I think I'm gonna show it in some way, shape, or form. I might leak some footage now. Not now? Should I do it now? Maybe. I could. it's like some video content. I hate that word. It's some Super 8 footage that I don't think will end up being used, because it was just like more so footage of me just being like me and not Vitesse X me. And I feel like I want to keep it all in the Vitesse X world. So but it's cute, and it does go along with the song very well. So who knows? Maybe I'll change my plan. After these questions, I'll show you some stuff. S. Martin said, my experience with love is that it's thrilling and scary because you have zero control over it. Love is the wind and you're the leaf, often to your detriment. But what are you going to do? That is beautiful. That's a poem. Those are lyrics right there. Wow. That's very beautiful. Yeah, I agree. Look up the etymology of genius and inspiration. We pull from the unknown when you create. I mean, I'm pulling completely. It's like the more you trust your intuition, the more that real art will flow out of you. It's really never from here. You use this part of the brain when it comes to more of like the technical aspects, at least for me. It could be different for anyone, but for me, it's like I'm using this part, or like that, executive functioning aspect of my brain when I'm getting to maybe the arrangement part. Like, okay, it needs to have, pre-chorus, chorus, this, or it's like some mixing aspect, or it's just things more on the technical side of things. But when I'm writing a song, it's like, it's got to come from, some people say the heart, some people say the gut. It's that intuition. It's like, there is like that sixth sense. And I think for me, I would say it's like, it is the subconscious talking. Some would say a higher state of intelligence, higher state of consciousness. But for me, it's like, I do think it's more just like my subconscious, and maybe like I think it's a somatic thing too. It's like you feel it in your body as well. But it's like a release of this web of information that your subconscious is taking in behind the scenes. Because there has to be a filter for you to kind of get through the day. But something is taking in the unfiltered information. And something in your brain has a level of pattern recognition that maybe you're not consciously aware of. And so I notice that all of that starts coming out when I'm more in like the intuition flow state. Higher frequency. There's a lot of different words for it, but yeah, it's like there's something else taking it all in, and then when you allow it to just flow, it kind of like it's like a mosaic of all of those things, a summary of all of those things, and then it's up to your more executive functioning brain to then look at that and be like, well, what does that mean? What was my subconscious talking about? And that's always like a fun part of the process too. And it could be a very emotional part of the process, because it's like you see this reflection of so many things that you weren't confronting maybe. And I noticed that a lot with this, I don't want to say album, but the songs I'm working on for the next record. It is a very emotional process, because I've been really actively trying to let that subconscious flow state happen. There's a lot of muck that comes up to the surface. But I mean, I look at art at this point as like a therapeutic process for that reason. So yeah. Okay, I'm just reading through some things. Oh, one of the first music videos you saw was the Activation VR music video. Yeah, That's it. That's like, to me, it's like from the vault. Like, it feels like such a different era of my existence, because it was pandemic era. It was like basically as close to living in the metaverse as I could have gotten at that time. I was really making the most of the situation, I think, without being able to see people and everything. And then my friend Carlos, he goes by Argraph. If some of you don't know, he actually worked with me to make that video. So that was really cool, because we would just get on like Zoom calls, and then we would come up with ideas how to build the space, and we were deciding on the types of dancers, or like the types of dance moves we want the dancers to have. It was super fun. It was like almost playing a video game while making a music video. And then I also did so I have a green screen set up in my basement, and so all the shots of me I did in front of the green screen, and then I sent him over all the footage for him to then plant me into the VR world. And the rendering for that is fucking insane. That's like the biggest hurdle for doing videos like that. The rendering process takes forever. It's crazy and takes so much computer power to make it work. So it's not something I would probably do again, but it's a really cool. I'm glad I did it. It was super fun. Did telepop music ever inspire the style of my music? I like telepop music. I haven't really. I've actually tried to get more into their discography. I don't know why it doesn't like totally click with me, but obviously Breathe is one of their songs. That's the name of the song, right? Like, that song's beautiful. I think that vocal styling, it's like again, it's like this unconscious thing, because when I was younger on the radio, hearing kind of like similar vocal stylings at that time, there was always like this eeriness to it that like really impacted me when I was younger. And I think, yeah, I mean, I'm just always about like kind of the softer vocal stylings in general, like with shoegaze and all that. So I definitely feel like connected to that universe that they created, but I don't know, like, I can't say that like there's an album that resonates with me super well. But send me recommendations, please. I haven't really taken the time to really try. So thank you, Ari. That's awesome. Okay, so I have an idea. I wanted to play the song since it's like the listening party, but I can screen share this like video idea, this draft for Way I Love, like the first draft that we ever did, and I can just like play the music at the same time and try to like sync it up as well as I can. I think I'll try that. Give me 1 second. I'm gonna mute my mic. Okay. It keeps going. I don't know if I didn't sync it properly or... Okay, well, I'm going to stop it there. Yeah, that's the first draft of this idea we had to just... I mean, it was supposed to kind of be more of this, like, spontaneous, road trip, Super 8 footage stuff. Sorry, I'm just... Yeah, I don't know. I could maybe do a little bit more editing, but if you guys are into it, maybe we'll release something like that soon. I do like it. I mean, the skateboarding shots I thought were really cute. And I thought it actually fit the vibe of the song really well, but I'm like, it's not the Vitesse X everyone knows. Vitesse X doesn't wear her hair down. Yeah, it does fit good. Yeah, maybe it's like I'm overthinking it a little bit too much. Thank you, Daffodil. Yeah, the Super 8 stuff fits super well with the song. That's something I always knew going into it. I think it's, a little bit rougher around the edges production-wise for me, which there was intention there. I would say with a lot of the stuff I'm putting out, there's less of this like perfectionist mindset and more of like, sacrifice perfection for honesty, for real, true, sincere emotion. So thank you, Exponite. I don't know how to pronounce your name. Thank you. So I don't know what I was getting at exactly. Yeah. I think with the visuals, I've been maybe having a tougher time just because there has been that big sonic shift. And I feel like the only way to truly honor that sonic shift into something that's like a little less perfectionist, a little less polished, is to have a little less polished video and photo stuff. But the problem with that is like, unfortunately, algorithms and shit hate that. So that's one thing. I'm just like, God damn it. Like, but obviously I'm going to put the art first. I would never like put the algorithm first. But it is kind of annoying that it operates that way, because it sees it as like a low res thing. So it's harder to get seen when you're putting out low res video stuff. That's the one thing. Again, I don't really care at the end of the day. I'm still going to like put the art first, but just an annoying aspect of it all. But yeah. But yeah, if you like the video, I'll be more inclined to post it at some point. And yeah, there's more where that came from too. We have so much Super 8 footage. It's pretty insane. But it was like Chris, who is also second half of Music Website. He's been filming all my stuff. So, we're learning as we go. I'm not really hiring out right now. My last music video was with a crew of people, Man who were awesome. But a lot of this stuff lately has been very DIY. So a lot of it's learn as you go. And so there's been a lot of mishaps, just like, as you figure it out, it's like, there's like a lot of troubleshooting errors and all of that. And we didn't realize how shaky the footage would be when you do the zoom ins and stuff in the Super 8. So yeah, we just have to go through the whole process of trial and error. But, Flexi for Way I Love. That's a good idea. I might be inclined. Yeah, I think physicals I'll be considering soon. Although, I do plan on having a record out in the hopefully near future. I don't want to give too much away. But so I don't know if that'll be the next physical I put out. But it would be nice to have maybe something in the works soon. I love cassettes. I still have cassettes here. I have Us Ephemeral with like the alternate image. And then I have the Are You Ready mixtapes, which look sick. They look super sick with cassette. So yes, that was all Super 8 footage that you saw just before. It's starting to catch on. I just noticed the band Soccer Mommy put out a music video all on Super 8, and I've been seeing it happening a lot. And something I notice when you're making art, putting out into the world, and making a lot of it and coming up with a lot of ideas, there is absolutely, without a doubt, some level of a collective consciousness that is going on at all times, because there's so many ideas that might feel like so exclusive and personal and intimate to you and your own internal universe. And then you'll see it reflected through someone else. And so I think it's maybe David Lynch who talked about this, but it's like, if you don't jump on an idea, someone else will. Like, it's not like ideas aren't really yours to keep. It's like a shared experience. So there, and we're all responding to, the world around us. And so I think right now the response is like the pendulum swinging very much away from these like manufactured, polished sounds and visuals, all of it. And you can tell, especially, people are a little bit afraid of the future, especially with AI and just like new technologies coming in. And so there's a strong reaction to that right now and a strong rejection to that right now. And so you notice, at least I've been noticing, that a lot of artists are reverting to more raw sounds and textures and raw visual elements. And so that's not specific to me. But it is like kind of a funny circumstance. Like, it's like when I started talking about doing Super 8 stuff, I hadn't seen anyone doing it at that point in time. And now it's like the second I start putting stuff out, I see it everywhere. So it's really interesting. Yeah, no one wants product anymore. We do want art. And I think a lot of these corporations right now are so blatantly out of touch with what if you want to call them the consumers, whatever, like what the general public wants is so not in line with like what these corporate CEOs think we want. Yeah, I mean, the rejection just gets stronger and stronger every day. People want real, raw, tangible connection more than ever, I think. Yeah. Sorry, I'm reading. Yeah, David Lynch, Etymology of a Genius. Okay. Oh, is that when you were talking about that earlier? That was a David Lynch thing? David Lynch is a funny guy to me. There's so many quotes that I relate to, but the way he expresses it is so like life or death. And I can understand that emotion sometimes, like, when you're not able to act upon an idea, and especially when you're like, you're a working American, you have to go to your day job and stuff, and you have ideas floating into your head, and like you can't act upon it. It's like, it does feel like a life or death thing. And David Lynch talks about that. It's like, it makes you not want to exist on this planet sometimes, when it's like you have this whole universe in your head that can't be expressed. He says it in a very intense way, which, it's just like, it does hit it resonates within a part of me for sure. But yeah, he is a true artist in every sense of the word. please ask any questions about making the song or anything. I probably won't be on here for too much longer. I was going to make this kind of short. I'm glad I was able to show you the footage, though. I just was able to find that last minute. I don't want to talk too much about stuff I have going in the future because all I can say is like there's a lot of stuff I'm working on, and I'm almost wrapped with some things. So I'm like excited because I've been sitting on so much music for so long, and I'm finally, like, just in the past couple months, finally inching my way into releasing it into the world. Finally. It's been so much of this time just incubating and not seeing much of humanity outside of work and stuff. So I'm going to start feeling human again, which I'm excited for. I keep talking about this, but I think I'm going to be starting a fan club, if you will, whatever you want to call it, on Bandcamp probably is a plan. I just want to have a place where I can, I've been asked this for like the past 2 years, so a place where I can maybe share some tutorials, share more of this type of behind the scenes stuff. At this point, I'm just like accumulating so much video and so many demo things. I'm like avoiding the word content so badly right now. I have so much in the folders, and it's getting to the point where it's like, it's all good stuff. It's just sometimes it doesn't align with the vision. And so I just want a place for that to live, and also get feedback. You know, I feel like, I'm working alone so often, and it's like only a handful of people really get to hear and like express their maybe critiques and stuff to me. So it'd be nice to have another place for that, and like exclusive merch stuff maybe. Yeah. Anyway, so I might be announcing that soon. The drought is over. Yes. I keep saying this, but 2024, that's all I'm going to say. Ooh, my dog is always wreaking havoc over here. That's all I'll say. But I'll keep you updated soon on that. And yeah, okay, so I'm circling back in office speak. I'm circling back to the show that I talked about when I first hopped on. There's a show happening next Friday at Trans Pecos, and it's like absolutely epic. And we just did we announced it earlier this week, but we just got a really sick flyer made. Here, I'll show you. Okay, here we go. The event is called Zero Sum. So a friend of mine, Tilly, I met her in Austin, Texas. She throws a lot of cool like warehouse of raves and stuff down in Texas. And this is going to be her first New York event, and she's throwing it with my label Music Website. So we're doing a joint party. And we have DJ Chaotic Ugly back-to-back picture plane headlining. It's gonna be fucking sick. I'm gonna be DJing. I haven't DJed in a while, so I'm really excited. I'm ready to go. I think I was like tapping out the DJ thing for a second, but I'm back fully ready to go. So if you're around in the New York area, yeah, shout out to Napster. If you're in the New York area on Friday, yes. So for anyone who doesn't know, DJ Chaotic Ugly is like Machine Girl's DJ alter ego. It's gonna be fucking hype. Everyone on this lineup is sick. So DBI, who's also on Music Website, she'll be DJing. She also, if we have any DBI fans in here, she just did a lot set last night, I think. 2 nights ago. I seriously can't keep track of time. Yeah, she's doing some cool shit. She just released an EP with Music Website as well recently, that you should check out. Absolutely. And we just released mini discs with her, which is also super cool. So that's something I might be considering in the future. I think mini discs are really sweet. They just look super cool. I don't think anyone has a mini disc player, but maybe there's like one of you. And Lola Limitless, Directress, that is my friend Tilly. She goes by Directress. Sweets and Lexi Jax. It's gonna be very, very hype. Very hype. You don't want to miss it. I'm really excited. I'm excited to finally get back behind the decks. I got another question. Do I ever plan on juggling between the shoegaze sound and electronic music? Absolutely. Yes, I will tell you for certain that is like a big aspect of this record and probably future records. I don't think it's ever gonna be like straight shoegaze with anything I do, but there's always like nods to it in some capacity with, I would say, a majority of these songs. So yeah, if you're a shoegaze head, I would hope you like this. I mean, it's like sometimes it's like riding the line between like dream pop, shoegaze. You know, a lot of people have different interpretations of what shoegaze means, to be honest. So like sometimes it's more dream pop, and then other times it's like a little bit more shoegaze. But yeah, I have some tracks that lean a little bit more electronic, and then other ones that lean a little bit more shoegaze. But there's a merging point in there with all of them, I would say. Yeah, that was like a big sonic vision I had for my next releases. You're trapped in Delaware. I'm sorry. Well, next time around, we're going to be throwing more stuff for sure. You don't have a mini disc player, but you still ordered because it's DVI. Exactly. Yeah. They look so cool. So, I mean, they're collector's items. And as far as I know, they're actually, I could be wrong, but I heard from somewhere that like mini discs are actually a finite thing. Like, I mean, they're just not being made anymore. I guess they're like maybe being recycled and that's how they're using it right now. But yeah, there's no like new mini disc being made from what I hear. So it is a finite resource. Will the show be recorded? I wouldn't say recorded. Maybe we can do some Instagram live stuff here and there, but well, we'll be taking photos and stuff. We can't record the whole event though, unfortunately. I think that would just be, everyone's going to be running around, so yeah, exactly. Yeah, I like to do nods more than just like blatant, this is shoegaze. It's like always, everything I do is a little bit more of a nod, which is, you know, I think it makes it more difficult for me to get like on playlists and stuff for that reason, because I'm always like one foot in this genre, one foot in that genre, and everywhere in between. And so it's very hard to like pinpoint exactly, you know, where I stand. But that's what makes it fun and interesting. Underwater Computing is a French label that releases a mini disc about once a week. Wow. Yeah, there's definitely a whole scene for it. And I learned that I went to some vaporwave events last summer. There were a lot of mini discs being sold there. It's like a fascinating thing. I just think they look cooler than almost any physical item, honestly. And they're so portable on top of it. It's cool. Walkman, gang, yeah. Okay, they still make them in Japan. Okay. Yeah, and if you weren't here earlier, we have a new artist on Music Website. They go by Sombrella. They are very much shoegaze, pop shoegaze meets like drum and bass type thing. So super sick if you're into that type of thing. And we're releasing not their first song, but our first song with Sumbrella is coming out tonight at midnight Eastern time. So that's gonna be sick. Sumbrella is so good. Yeah, I'm really psyched because I've been repping their music for like the past year now. So yeah, it's really cool to like have a label and actually be like, when people ask me what music I'm listening to right now, what music I'm hyped on, it's like, it's all the artists on my roster right now. It's so sick to be actually supporting music I just genuinely fuck with. It's very cool. Yeah, so keep your eye out for that. I might have a remix. I'll leak this only to you people only. I might have a remix coming out soon. Oh, Sumbrella collab would be cool. So keep your eyes out for that. That's all I'll say. And yeah, I think a collab would be cool too. Maybe we'll make that happen. I haven't really talked to them about it yet, but I think it would make sense. So yeah, I'll keep that. I'll noted. I have to pay some hack hipster journalist to come up with a gimmicky subgenre, Vitesse X pioneer of shoegaze, tronica, electric gaze pop. That's funny. That's very funny. You know what? I'm just going to openly say I've been trying to do that myself. I've been like really trying to like coin some terms here and there so that I can just, it is kind of frustrating. I like, you know, genres are annoying in general because it's like, it's, you know, people love to categorize things and then it ends up pigeonholing artists into one lane, and that can be frustrating. So like I'm more anti-genre than anything, but it would be nice to have a place where my music lived in a more like obvious way. So yeah, I mean, I've been using the term cybergaze. I have a playlist out called Cybergaze. And the thing is, I just feel like there is a whole scene that kind of like encompasses that sound. So that could be cool, but like, you know, there's probably other terms. People use the term indie-tronica too. That's a big one. But that's been around for a while. Okay, Chris is in the chat. There we go. Oh, he has the pre-save. Yeah, only for you people. Only. You get the pre-save link first and foremost. Okay. Yeah, we're trying to spearhead the movement. Cybergaze, let's go. It's time. It's time for a new genre, I think. And I think the music website crew encompasses that. Oh, Chris, by the way, if you have the tickets link for the Zero Sum show, throw that in the chat. But yeah, I don't know what I was saying. Swords Club, yeah, that could be cool too. That's the thing. All the artists on the roster are so sick, and I would love to collab with all of them at some point if I can. I mean, that's a dream. We also have some more exciting announcements for music website in the future. I can't say it yet, but maybe some more people hopping on the roster. Yeah, Tyla, come through. Only 11 hours, of course. I mean, it's Friday night. You get the whole weekend. You could stay. You could crash somewhere. I mean, I have to say, I keep like wanting to just like get a tent going out in the park and just like crash in the park. It's so nice out right now. So you could probably just go camping on the parks. You could do like a whole full camping trip in New York. Cybergaze does sound sick. It does. It rolls off the tongue well, and it just like, it encapsulates the vibe pretty well. Cause like, it's not saying that it's shoegaze. It's like, I think like, it gives like more of this like it has like a psychedelic quality about it. But then it does allude to shoegaze. And then you have the cyber component. And it's funny. I actually saw, I don't know if any of you saw this on Twitter, but there was this, there was like this old magazine. It was like something pulled out of a magazine. It was just saying like what's out of fashion, pretty much. It was like a list of like all these like words that were out of fashion. And this was back in the 90s. And it was so funny because so many of those words are being used like crazy right now. And cyber, they'd said cyber as a prefix. And I was like, what the hell? That was out of fashion in the 90s. And here we are. It's still, I still feel like that was a personal attack after all that time. My vocal delivery. I'm not much of like a guttural singer. That's just not something I do. Back in the day, I did do more of that. That was back in my more punk days. And the thing is, like, I think there's a whole thing I could say about how, I'm going to close out of this. There's a whole thing I could say about how our current environment shapes the music we make. I mean, that's a very vague way of putting it, but like, I'll just say like, the biggest example I always give is back in like the 2012 era, when I was living down in Harrisonburg, Virginia, and there was like a really thriving underground DIY punk scene, I guess you could call it. It wasn't just punk music though, but people would always go fucking crazy and like they would be thrashing around. Didn't really matter what was playing. But down there, it was like the vocals were, when people recorded, when bands down there would record, it was always very raw, and it was always, you know, it was a lot more like chest voice, and it was a lot more, yeah, I would say raw is the best way of putting it. And then you had like the New York scene, which I was like, I looked up to. It was a big reason why I moved to the city eventually, was because of the New York scene at that time. And it was all like, it was like second wave shoegaze, that type of vibe. I mean, it was like Dive and Beach Fossils and all that. And it's really interesting to see like the people that were living in these small apartments, their music was like the music that sounded really spacious and like had a lot of echoes and delays and reverb on the vocals. And it's almost like I kind of like see that, and I think a lot of times when we're making art, it's like we're trying to escape to a world that's like almost like the polar opposite of the one we're in currently. It's like you're trying to escape to this like alternate reality. I find myself now that I'm living in New York doing exactly the same thing. And so it's like you're confined in the space. So like, it's like a lot of times your vocals will kind of coincide with that, but then like at the same time, the effects that you're using and stuff, it's like you're yearning for the space that you don't have when you're apartment living. That's a big aspect of like why I think my vocal delivery has changed over this time, is just like my living situations. Like I can hear literally everything above me, and they can probably hear me right now. And it's like, yeah, I think that has a lot to do with it. But when I was back in Harrisonburg, Virginia, my vocal delivery style was so entirely different. And because I wasn't really craving that space so much, I think it was like I could just be more raw with my vocals, but then like I wouldn't need to like add too much of like the effect on top of it. And so now it's kind of the opposite, where I'm like, I have to be kind of like soft. But then I like, you know, I'll just like throw some effects on, and it just like, it feels right. It feels like the space I need. So anyway, I think, I'm always playing around with new stylings though. Like I'm not saying I'm like locked into this. I think that collabs are always a really good way to break out of any maybe like rigid circuitries that you have going in your brain. And so like I did a collab with TDJ last summer, and it was like a very much like straight Eurotrance type of collab. And so my vocal styling had to really encompass that a lot more. So it's if you listen to that, there's the way that I'm projecting is different. And you know, it's still me, it's still soft, but for me it was definitely forcing myself out of my comfort zone a little bit more. I will say a lot of the songs I've written recently, it's like the vocals, some of them, the vocals are more prominent, some of them. And some of them, the lyrics are actually a lot more of like the focus of the songs. So, yeah, you'll probably see a little bit of variety in the future. I feel like I just spoke too much on that. I was rambling, but yeah, the upstairs neighbors, yeah, they learn to hate you over time. I mean, I mix almost fully my headphones now. It sucks. I am yearning for a day I get like a proper studio, but this is the best I'm gonna get where I live. I will say I'm very lucky to have a proper like space, because I know some people just have their studio setups in their bedrooms in New York. So I'm lucky to have a proper space for it. Yeah. Anyway, feel free to ask me any more questions. I'll give it like another few minutes. My poor dog is hungry and wants to go out. So, and he's the best studio companion. I got my dog pretty much the same time I wrote. It was like maybe the same week, same couple weeks that I wrote that song, Us Ephemeral. It was like the first song I ever wrote for Vitesse, unknowingly for Vitesse. And I was just like, I was so in love with this dog when I first got him, like oxytocin through the fucking roof. I don't know. It did something to me on like a hormonal level even. It was crazy. I was just like so fucking in love with this dog. He just made me so happy. And then I wrote Us Ephemeral. I was just in a bliss state and I wrote that song. So it's all because of him. It's all because of Micah. He knows it too. The trance song that I was mentioning, it's called Into Dream. It's my collab with TDJ. And fan club, yeah, I did mention it before, so I'll keep you guys posted about like a Bandcamp thing, where I can start hopefully posting maybe tutorials, demos, and just like behind the scenes stuff, or like stuff that didn't like hit the mark. There's so much. I mean, I'm sure most artists go through this, but like, oh my God, the amount of ideas you go through that just like don't really hit the mark. And then it feels like a waste, because it's like, you don't want to just throw it away. I want people to see the ideas at some point. So I have a lot now that's just like trapped away in these folders that I would love to share to people. So Us Ephemeral really is a dog song. I fluffed it up when I was talking to people about the meaning, but at the end of the day, I was just like, I was blissed out having my dog for the first time. All I wanted, like, I didn't have many visions for the future for myself growing up. I always say this, like, I didn't know I was going to be a musician. I genuinely didn't, but I knew I wanted a dog. That was one thing. Like, I wanted my own dog. I had a dog growing up, but I'm just a dog person. It's fucked. I don't know what to do about it. It's a problem. Lush soundscapes. Oh man, that's like, it's taken me so long to even get close to like the lushness I'm looking for. Because the reality is, I am like such an ambient head. I just, majority of the time, and this is another thing about living in New York and like trying to access the space that you don't have. I think that's a part of a big reason why I just listen to so much ambient music, especially on the train. And I have like this one record by this artist Tareka that it's like I know the chord changes by heart. Like it's almost like the way that people know lyrics, like I know the chord changes in this ambient record to a T. So yeah, I'm always like aspiring to like get to those levels of lushness that I hear in these ambient tracks. And to me, what I'm doing never hits the mark. But I did get this Oberheim OB6 synth last, oh wow, 2 summers ago. Holy shit. Yeah. So a big reason for getting that was to try to get a little bit more of like this real, analog character, synth sounds. I use a lot of my vocals actually, and just like do a lot of vocal layering. So I use vocals a lot as like synths. That's a big thing for me. That's the only thing that seems to like really get that lushness I'm looking for. So many synth sounds just don't like hit the mark for me. And then obviously like ton of reverb, ton of hall reverb. But yeah, I could, again, like that's something I could do a tutorial on for sure. It's very nice of you to say that you hear that lushness, because I'm always like, it's not lush enough ever. It's never lush enough. You can always be more lush. My dog is my muse. Yeah. Yep. He's sitting right here by my side. I would show you if I could. Yeah. Dogs are not a problem. They really aren't. They're just, it's like the most unconditional love you can get. And I know that some people say, well, that's like, it's like kind of selfish of me. And it's just like, give me all this love unconditionally. I can do whatever I want. And you can be, but he gets so, it's not like that. It's very like, it's a mutually symbiotic relationship that we've built with dogs over like 40,000 years. And you know what I've read research papers on this. Women were actually the ones to domesticate the dogs, by the way. So when they say man's best friend, it was woman's best friend first. I'm just going to say that. And that, I mean, I could go down a whole like, yeah, the reason like they kind of like pull at our heartstrings, and it's like they cater to like, these primitive sort of like maternal needing to nurture aspects within ourselves. Yeah, I mean, it's like they've trained us in many ways. Absolutely. And the whole reason like we started to domesticate them really was like the wolves would follow the tribes. They would follow them and like eat the scraps. And over time, it's like they started to develop more of like a close relationship through whatever domesticating ways they were doing it. But yeah, I mean, there's a deep connection there, like in our DNA. Anyway, it would be a bit of a juxtaposition, but at one point I really wanted to hear you work with Boris. Is that like that's an electronic artist, right? I feel like I know who you're talking about, but oh, thank you, Too Tired, for bringing this up. Hey, Chris needs to speak on this. He's gonna love this. We've been talking about this a lot. Yeah, I will say that I'm pretty fucking certain that Charlie XCX did in fact steal the music website font and design. Absolutely, yes. And this is Chris's design. I'm sure he has stuff to say if he wants to come down and talk about it. Yeah. I mean, I'm not mad. I take it as a compliment. I think it's funny that like they pulled from it to be like, what's the ugliest thing we can find to just be like counter what this culture is about right now, just to be like anti everything, whatever. And that there's a level of like, that's kind of what we were going for at the beginning with Music Website too. It was like, we were just kind of trying to like counteract like everything that was like deemed maybe like, what everything was supposed to be cool. And I think Charlie XCX was doing kind of the same thing. And whoever was her designer, they pull from the underground. That's what they do. They do that with all of the producers and everything that work on her records. They're pulling from the underground. So of course they're going to do that with the visuals too. And I'm sure there's only like 1 degree away from Charlie XCX when you're in the New York scene. So, but it's kind of hilarious because it's not just the font. It was also the color and everything that we initially used. So yeah, see, Chris has something to say now. The anti-vibe. Yeah. We are getting a new logo made. We'll say that now. So actually our friend Jackson, who designed this flyer, is designing our new logo, and I'm very excited about that. But we're not getting a new logo made, by the way, because of this. That's not the reason. It was already in the works before the Charlie XCX thing. We had already been talking about it. Felt like last year we just started the label and we were really trying to figure out what the vision was. I think sometimes you just don't know at the beginning what the vision is. You know kind of roughly what you're going for. Same thing with Vitesse X. It's like, it's so much about like this call and response type thing. It's so much about like seeing what resonates with other people, seeing what resonates with yourself. And then over time, it's like you make adjustments and then you can see the vision more clearly. So that's kind of what happened. It was like, after the roster started developing and after kind of seeing that there was like somewhat of a cohesive sound and everything, now we want to have a logo that kind of solidifies that a little bit more. So yeah, it's time for an identity change a little bit, and the flyer is sick, absolutely. So I think I'm trusting my life with Jackson right now. Culture vulture or Charlie, I don't know. I think it's, yeah, I mean, if it's like a situation where like it's an obvious stealing thing and it's like that means that the artist isn't gonna be making that money or whatever, that's when it gets murky. But I think this, to me, I took it as a compliment. Yeah, it obviously can get murky, but in this situation, it's like, it's not like she's stealing anyone's. Yeah, I mean, you could make the critique that she's stealing, but I don't think so. It is a font at the end of the day. It's a font that anyone could use. Yeah, Charlie XCX, I don't even know. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's like, is it plagiarism or is it more like she's trying to like pull from the underground and showcase kind of what the underground's about. I mean, she's put so many artists, she's gotten like so many people on to underground artists and up and coming artists, and like I think she's done a lot more good than bad with the way she approaches things. But I'm not a Charlie XCX head. Like, I don't really listen to her music much. So I'm not the person to really speak on this. You like when Vitesse X videos are out in nature to juxtapose the electronics? Yes, that has become intentional, I will say. Like, I think, like I was saying just before, you don't really know what the vision is until you see kind of like what resonates and what works and what feels right. That intuition thing, that sixth sense. It's like sometimes you don't know until you just see it and you feel it and you're like, oh, this is it. And so I think like when when the Us Ephemeral video was made, it all kind of came to fruition there, where, you know, like, I didn't know what to wear that day. I was just like, this is the only outfit that I can kind of put together last minute. Okay. And then we went out to the woods, and then all of a sudden it's like, without even intentionally realizing it, it was like this really cool juxtaposition with like this like sort of like cyber look in the middle of nature. And all of a sudden, like, when I looked back at it retrospectively, I was like, this is the vision for Vitesse X fully. Like, I mean, it feels very much just authentically what I'm about, I guess. Like, there's a lot of futurism in the way I approach my music and everything, but there's also this retro element to everything. And I grew up in the mountains upstate, so like that's a huge part of just who I am and a huge inspiration for my art. So yes, that is always now an intention going into most of the visual elements for my music, because I'm realizing like this is the identity, and it kind of decided for itself, which is good. Yeah. Well, anyway, 9:30. Any last words? It's funny. People always have questions like right when I'm about to sign off, and then I'm like, oh, okay. Well, no, I'm like happy. I'm happy to answer questions. That's what I'm here for. But yeah, I'll give it a second. There's always like such a lag too. What else? Micah, you have anything to say? No, he's sleeping. I do want Micah to have a cameo. My dog, Micah. I want him to have a cameo in one of my music videos at some point. That needs to happen. I don't know what book club radio is. I'm sorry. What percentage of my diet is animal based? I take my diet very seriously. So for a very, very, very long time, I was like pescatarian, but I still don't eat dairy. But more recently, I started incorporating chicken back into my diet. So whatever that is. I've also been kind of interested in keto diet, but like still not eating pork or beef. I don't really fuck with pork or beef. I don't fuck with the way it makes me feel. There is like a moral component to that. I mean, that's kind of fucked up to say like, oh, I'm not going to eat like pig and cow are more important to me than chicken. But yeah, it doesn't feel necessary. Like if I can just do kind of like lean meats, then it doesn't feel necessary. And I do know that like pigs have like the brain capacity of like a 2-year-old. So like it's when you know that like these animals are in line and they can kind of like anticipate what's next, and they're separated from their children, whatever you want to call it. It's fucked up. So I mean, I do have some moral restrictions there, I guess. But aside from that, yeah, I mean, a clean diet is just super important to me in general. I try to just like eat salads whenever I'm at work, and try to be really minimal. Like I don't even eat meat, except for maybe like the end of the day if I do. And yeah, I mean, I'm pretty all up on my supplement routine and everything too. I grew up as an athlete, so like I've always kind of grown up with like this like constant awareness of like my body's needs and like the way I'm feeling. Like if I eat something, I immediately just like have to like tune in and be like, how is this making me feel? Is this making me feel groggy or tired? It's like, so I've always been adjusting my diet. I think diet is very specific to every person, and I think everyone needs to just listen to their own bodies more than listen to what everyone's saying around them, because there's so much conflicting information out there. It's absurd. But obviously processed foods, just don't do that. That's a given. But aside from that, it's like, going vegan or like going carnivore or whatever you want to do. It's like, just listen to your own body. It's the best move. And for me, I found cutting out dairy changed my life in a lot of ways. I think I'm under the belief system that a lot of mental disorders are actually caused by dietary issues, and inflammation in the body. And so, it's just important to see like what is inflammatory to your body. Start there. There's been a lot of research done actually. People with schizophrenia have had their symptoms reduced by a substantial amount by going on the keto diet and stuff. So there's like all these really interesting studies that are popping up about the connection with gut and mind health. And there's also like a ton of serotonin receptors in your gut. People don't realize, like they think serotonin's in the brain. There's a ton of serotonin receptors in your gut. So if your gut's like not at its utmost functioning state, it can affect your emotions and your hormones and all of those things. So diet is everything. Really, diet is people need to be putting a lot more emphasis into that. And obviously there are limitations there and there's privilege there too. If you don't have like grocery stores nearby that sell healthy foods, it's there's a lot of limitations that people have, which is fucked up. But this is America and everything's kind of fucked up and wonky here. So, we all know. Yeah. But yeah, fish, I really do like fish. And if you can't do fish, you can get like, you can get supplements to help. Omega-3s are really important for your brain health. So, you get that with fish a lot, but you can get that through eggs, but yeah, supplements as well. Yeah, pigs are smarter than dogs. That's what they say. Yeah. Yeah, it is kind of strange, like culturally what we decide has more value. It is very strange. Lab grown is best of both worlds. Yeah, that could be sick. Honestly, I'm all for that. I'm not really fearful of that. I think with technological advances, we could pretty much get it to the same quality as real meat, and that would be best for everyone, best for the planet too. Yes. Yeah, supplement regimens that's why they're called supplements. Because you're supplementing a diet that already needs to be in place. And it's not like taking a drug where you feel a sense of euphoria after taking it. For me, I can tell when if I like had like a dry spell where I hadn't taken my vitamins in like a month, there are absolutely things that start to go, like my body's ability to heal itself kind of goes down. Maybe fatigue levels up and stuff. It's mild things, but you can tell, and you could also see it just like if you were to take like a test at the doctor. It's important to just keep those maintained so that everything's functioning well. But it's to supplement an already good diet. That's the main thing. Greens are important. Here I go. See, this is the stuff I can talk about forever. And also, yeah, see, I can talk about this a lot. There's a lot of supplement companies that say that it's like there's so many loopholes now where like it's like it's like a drug dealer cutting drugs. Like it doesn't actually, a lot of these supplements don't actually have nearly as much as it says it does on the label. And so there's like certain brands I go with that have been vetted to like actually contain what it says that it contains. So that's another thing. You have to do a lot of research to like find the right supplement companies that actually aren't lying to you and trying to steal your money. So that's a whole nother thing too. In America, here we go again. Lack of vitamin D, like, yeah, it's something crazy, like 70% of Americans are vitamin D deficient. I do about 1,000, what is it? IU, I think is the amount. Yeah. Yeah, K2. Yeah, then also it's like the way that certain the interactions between certain vitamins. So it's like to absorb D, you actually have to have K as well to help actually properly absorb vitamin D. This shit can get really expensive. So it's like doing a multivitamin is probably your best bet if this is too much for anyone to take in. Sardines are great for omega-3s. Sardines are like almost the best because they also are very low mercury concentration. So yeah, anchovies and sardines are actually really, really good for you. You could eat a ton of them and like you don't have to worry so much about the mercury concentration, but then you can get all this omega-3. Highly recommend. Yeah, I mean, it's important to be physically active, absolutely, for all this stuff too. Yes, that's my spiel. Maybe I'll do a whole stream about this stuff. I'm no saint though. I definitely skimp out a lot. I was so good during the pandemic. It became my obsession. But you know, it's hard to keep good habits when things are busy. It's just really hard. That's how it goes. Yes, mercury goes up in concentration the higher up the food chain you go. It's called biomagnification. Yep. So it's like one fish has just a tiny bit, and then the bigger fish eats the one with the tiny bit, eats like multiple small fish with just a little bit of mercury, and then all of a sudden it starts to compound. And then once you get the big fish, once you get to the tuna, then you got a lot of mercury. Yeah. Fishwife brand. Okay. See, we got a lot of healthy people in the chat. I love this. Kitchen reveal? No. I'm not actually much of a cook. That's the one thing. I'd like to be. I think in my post-grind years, when I have time to cook, I will. During the pandemic, I was doing a lot more of that, but yeah. I grew up, my dad's from Long Island, my mom's from upstate New York, and I don't know what better way to put it. It was just like the most vanilla diet of all time. You can't ever imagine any level of spice on any of that food. So I'm still learning as I go. Safe Catch. Yeah, I've had Safe Catch. You're on the eat what you crave diet. We all do that in some capacity. That's the thing. Like, we all have our vices. No one's better than anyone else. But I will say, like, really focusing on my diet. I'll be more real here. Like, I had such horrible mental health issues like most of my life. And so I was like desperate to fix myself, for lack of a better term, because it was getting to the point where I just like couldn't function in society, and I achieve any goals I made, and it was a miserable way of existing. And so at a certain point I was like, well, I don't want to get on drugs. I just don't trust the pharmaceutical companies enough to have enough of my well-being in mind. So and absolutely no shade on people who do. It's important to do what you need to do to get through life. But for me personally, I just wanted to go through every possibility of like what could be maybe helping these systems to manifest in my mind and my brain and my so anyway, yeah, it was just like a matter of cutting things out for a long time. And then I kind of discovered that dairy was really triggering a lot of like bad mental health episodes, like really bad anxiety attacks and stuff. So once I cut that out, it was like day and night, and like my level of energy changed like crazy. And so I never looked back after that. So I just don't do dairy anymore for that reason. I also find a similar thing with soy, but it's like I only knew that because I started cutting things out of my diet and just would see the difference. I would kind of like log how I felt. And all of this ties into the music stuff too, because when you're a musician in 2024, the level of energy required to get you through the day between, especially if you're working a day job and all that stuff, it's so much energy. Creativity takes so much energy. And so you want to be at your physical best in order to make the art you want to make. That was so important to me. And so that was like a big drive for me to figure it out, because there were so many ideas that I wanted to put out into the world, but I just didn't have the energy for so long. So yeah, diet's super important for that. Like, I think at least just like see what you can do on your own and see maybe if, cutting certain things out shifts your mood. It's really wild. It's like wild how like cheese kind of fucked up my life for so long. But there's a reality, like it's really true. We are what we eat. We're just comprised of the things we consume. And that's on a more spiritual level too. It's like when you're doom scrolling all day, that is a similar thing to like junk food. So yeah, don't eat trash. I don't recommend it either. But find things to replace it with. When you're finding yourself craving things, I think it's when you just have to sit and abstain from something, that's not great. Like, find something to put in its place. Maybe just have celery sticks on hand all the time. I don't know. I don't do that though. I'm really rambling, but I could talk about this stuff for a long time. Anyway, I feel like I should talk about my music one last time. Yes, my song is out. I think maybe I'll consider putting out a music video now because of your response. That was really awesome to share that with you guys and just get your thoughts on that. And yes, I have a remix coming at the end of June, so soon. So I will have some new music for you that I can talk about now. The Germs, Drugs in the Bathroom. We had a Swords remix earlier this week. I'm going to be doing another one. So lots of Drugs in the Bathroom remixes coming out on music website. Thai food. Oh yeah, I just had some Thai food actually. Thai food and wine. That's a really good combo, I will say. Thank you. Okay. I need the encouragement for the music video, if that's what you want. Well, my dog, he's being a very patient man, and I want to reward him by taking him out on a nice long walk. So I'll probably be calling it a night, especially because I can't speak anymore. But stay tuned for new things. I have so many new things coming up And Chris just put in the link for the Drugs in the Bathroom remix. And who knows, maybe, stay tuned for the fan club thing. Maybe I'll share some diet tips with you guys every once in a while. Like I said, I'm really no saint. I just know what works for me. But and if you're in New York, please come out on Friday. Not this Friday, next Friday. It's gonna be super fun. And yeah, I think I'm just gonna prep a really fun, hypey set. I'm really psyched to get back behind the decks. Chris says, this is from Chris, this isn't from me. We will make a music video if you like. Sub and comment for the algo. Yeah, the algo does like that, but yes. I put it into Chris's head that it's kind of cringe to do that stuff. Because I avoid it at all costs. But, if you, any way you want to support, likes do help. At this point, it's like feed the algo, feed the artist, Yeah. Yeah, it's a weird time. But I am very grateful for you guys hanging out. It's nice to have people want to listen to me ramble. I don't know what to say. I never had that in my entire life. So it's very nice to have people that want to listen to me and talk about my omega 3s, Anything else? Chris, should I add anything else for music website? Oh, yes. I'll say it one more time. Sombrella. New Sombrella track out tonight. And anything else, Chris? I'll wait for Chris to answer. This delay thing is real annoying. Real annoying. Yes. Stay tuned. Okay. Well, nothing from Chris, unless this delay is like 40 seconds long. Yeah, Google's gotta get that money. Yeah. Okay. I don't know how to sign off in a nice smooth fashion. So thank you guys for hanging out with me. Listen to the song, like and subscribe, as Chris would say. And stay tuned. Okay. That's it. Yeah. Stay tuned for more things in the Vitesse X world. Stay tuned for more things in the music website world. And I hope you guys have a great night. And I hope you guys have a very creative, fruitful week ahead of you.